This just came in from maono. Let's check it out. The PD100X USB XLR dynamic microphone was developed with gamers and streamers and content creators in mind. It boasts a modern design with a vibrant RGB lighting and adds a striking visual element. The dual connectivity setup enables effortless integration with both PC and Mac systems. So right now I'm just reading off the back of the box. So it has built-in mic gain and headphone volume control, a built-in wind foam, which is common in a lot of USB XLR mics, the one I have right in front of me. It's got a cardioid polar pattern, touch mute button, which is awesome for on the go, but I imagine that's only going to be for the USB connectivity. Usually with mics like this, if it's connected through XLR, you don't get that connectivity. You get that only through USB. And then programmable RGB lights. You need RGB. It makes you a better gamer, right? And then it's also compatible with PC, smartphone, and game consoles. So let's see what this is all about. So shout out to maono for sending over their PD100X. This is the second time I've gotten to work with them. It has been a real joy to get to do that, and this fits right with my MMO of finding budget items for content creators, streamers, and gamers. So when opening the box for this, you get the starter manual, which gives you a lot of the details on the functionalities of the mic, and the maono link, which is their software that we're going to take a look at later in this video. You also get some yummy silica that is so delicious. Yum, 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 yum. I'm kidding. Don't eat that. You never eat the silica. I'm serious. You also get the Type-C cable, which is a Type-C to Type-A USB. And the cool thing about this is that the Type-A actually comes off to a Type-C. So if you have a newer iPhone or an Android with the Type-C connection, you can use this with your smartphone as well, which is a plus for any content creators or people who need a mic on the go. You also get this really cool stand that just connects to the bottom of the mic arm. I would love if this whole thing came in white, but the black is nice and sleek, and it sits really nicely on my desk. It's not moving around. I love that. As for the build quality of this, it's actually pretty solid. You can definitely tell that this is made of plastic, but it doesn't have a lot of flex. If I really push into it, it has a little bit of a give, but definitely seems like it's going to be durable. And if you need to throw this into a backpack or a suitcase for on the go, I think it'll hold up just fine. The wind screen on the outside is removable. I don't know if you can get a replacement of this in different colors, but it has the typical kind of shotgun style, which I really like. On the front face of the microphone, you get the touch mute button, which is always really nice if you need to mute yourself really quick, whether you're in a Zoom call, on Discord with your friends, or editing content or streaming. You also have a turn dial for the headphones and the mic, and the really cool thing about it is that it's actually a toggleable button that you can press as well to switch back and forth between the headphones and the mic. So they don't have two independent knobs for the headphones and the mic. It's all just built into one, which I think is really cool. And then on the bottom of the mic, you can see we have a headphone jack so you can monitor yourself as you're using it, a button so you can change up the RGB lighting, a Type-C USB port so you can connect this to a laptop, your phone, to anything like that. And there's also an XLR port for anyone who is using an audio interface and has that ability. The one thing I'm interested in seeing is if we lose the RGB lights on this by using the XLR. A lot of mics that have this kind of dual connectivity have that feature kind of taken away. It's a really nice clear plastic. Curious if we'll still have those RGB lights doing that. You might just have it with the Type-C, so we're gonna find that out. But to start off, I'm gonna go ahead and connect the Type-C connector, and there we go. We got some really nice RGB colors, just kind of cycling through some different gradients, which look really good. And again, you can tap the button on the bottom and it will change it to be different solid colors, different gradients, and kind of going through the whole spectrum of RGB that you get with most RGB products. So before I see if we lose that RGB feature, let's test the sound of this compared with the Type-C port and with XLR port, my sound card. Okay, so here is the Type-C port. I am using just the stock sound. I have no filters on. I took everything off. This is just the raw sound from the USB port into my computer through OBS. How does it sound? And here it is with the XLR input. You do lose the RGB factor when you're not using the Type-C. I imagine if you plug the Type-C in, but you're using your dedicated sound card or interface for your audio, you probably would keep that. For me personally, I just use one cable, so I would use the XLR and just miss out on the RGB. But if that's not what you want, go ahead and use the Type-C. But how does the XLR sound compared to the Type-C? Also, this has no filters on, nothing at all. I'm going to do this next with all my filters so you can kind of see how I would use this in a more professional setting. Am I a professional? I don't know. And here we go with my filters on. I am just running running a compressor, a noise gate, noise suppression, a 3-band equalizer, and a limiter. This is what I use in all my content creation stuff, whether it's this channel or my Minecraft channel, as well as when I'm streaming on either Twitch or YouTube. So what do you think? Does the normal XLR with no filters sound good? Does it sound good with the filters? Does the USB take the cake? You're the judge of this. Let me know. So now I'm going to take a second. I'm going to get the Maono Link software installed and get that set up, and let's dig into that and see what kind of features they offer with that.
A few moments later.
Okay, I'm on the Maono website and I logged in with my affiliate account and everything. I went to go download the Maono Link software and it says that it is not compatible with all of their microphones and only with these ones. The PD100X is not on there. I'm going to go ahead and download the PD200X and see if it works with it. It says on the box and in the guide that it's compatible. So I don't know if that's just a typo on their website or anything like that, but we're going to go ahead and test it and just try it out. Okay, so I ended up downloading this and getting everything hooked up. It seems to work just fine because once you boot it up, it asks you to connect a Maono product. And as soon as I plugged in the PD100X, it picked it up right away. So I think that's just a typo on there. And I'm happy to see that we have a little bit more functionality. A really cool thing is that we get to see kind of the general input of our mic and the levels of it. We can adjust the gain. If you're using the headphone monitoring on that, you can adjust the volume on there as well, or you can even monitor your mic. So if you click this on, you can then hear yourself talking through the mic. If you don't want to do that, click it off, you won't hear yourself. And then I'm interested in this tone. That's not working. Give me a second. Picking out the big guns, get my in-ear monitors going and pop that in. Ooh, that's what I sound like. Okay. So I'm curious what these tones do. So if I do, does that change anything? Testing. No, I gotta switch my mic around. Give me 1 second. So here is with the original tone. I don't know if that is anything. Hopefully I sound good talking into a microphone. Let's go to the deep one. How does the deep sound? Because I'm not noticing anything different in my earbuds. I don't know if it's coming through differently in the video. So, and then the natural. Oh, I heard a little bit of a change there. It sounds like it made it a little, at least in my earbud. So that's kind of cool. So just the kind of options that you don't know about Legacy. Hello. I'm hearing a little more room sound with the Legacy. That's honestly not bad. Sometimes in certain recordings, you want a little more room sound. So that's a cool option to have. I'm going to go back to original because that does a lot of noise reduction. All right, just to let you guys know, I am switching back to my original mic for the rest of this. So if we go on down to the very bottom on this side, we can see the RGB lighting section. So we have some different options to where we could turn it on or off. We can adjust the brightness to make it brighter, or we can make it dimmer or turn it off completely. And then we have some different choices such as static, pulse, or dynamic. With the static, it just chooses a very simple color. So for example, right now it's set as purple, but if I wanted to change it to more of a light blue or even a green or red, it would just be a static color, which means it's not changing. Then we can go on down to pulse, which is going to be very similar to static, except it's going to pulse that color. It's going to give it a little bit of an oomph and kind of back off, if you can imagine that. But let's say that on static and pulse, you don't want it to just sit there on one color and pulse or just be static. You can actually choose the multiple color wheel and it's going to pulse or sit statically on different colors. Then we get into the dynamic setting, which is just going to go through different rings of the lights going up and down on the mic. So this is what level 1 looks like. Then we go on to level 2. And then I think my favorite of these 3 options is the level meter. So what it does is it picks up voice output and will actually have it pop up on the mic. So you can see as I'm talking, it's picking up every single thing I'm saying, and it's getting brighter the louder I get. I love that. That's an awesome choice. And then if you don't like that option and you want to get more in detail, you can go over to the advanced side where you still have control over the gain, the headphone volume, the monitoring, all that, but you do get a little bit of control with the EQ. You can just have like the standard EQ where it's just nice and flat. There's no change at all to the sound. But then you can go to a high pass filter, which kind of squashes those low end frequencies and lets the highs kind of pass through a little bit more. And high pass filter. You get a little bit more of a presence boost, which just kind of boosts the mids in the frequency line. And I use that in a lot of different recordings, whether it's in content creation or creating music. And then a high pass filter and presence boost. So it just takes those 2 different EQ settings and puts them together. So just like in OBS where I had filters set on, they give you options to have a limiter, a compressor, and a noise reduction option. I personally would not be using these because I like to have a little bit more control in OBS OBS, but a limiter is just going to stop your volume at a certain point. So if you have the issue of clipping or getting distorted in streams or in video content, you can put a limiter on it and it's going to stop it at a certain point, even if you're yelling. The compressor just takes your loudest sounds and your softest sounds and squashes them down to where they're literally compressed. You can't go wrong with a compressor on almost anything you're using, especially with microphones. And then a noise reduction, it just takes a lot of that room noise around you and just kind of makes it go away and just focuses solely on what you are putting into the mic, which is always really good. So let me know in the comments down below, what did you think of the PD100X? I think it's a really nice mic. It's very much on par with a lot of the different mics that I've reviewed and then I've tried out for myself, and it fits really well into the budget range that I usually try to stick in. I don't try to do anything crazy with pricing, and this definitely fits that. But again, I wanted to shout out Maono for sending this on over for me to unbox and review. Thank you so much. I love getting to toy around with these. It's just fun to mess around and see what kind of things we can get and what we can do with them. But that's going to be all for me today, guys. If you guys want to see more of my tech reviews, you can click this playlist right here to get into any of those, or you could search on my Minecraft channel, OddManMC. But I'm going to get on out of here, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Always remember, the most important thing is to be odd and wash your hands. Peace, guys.